that song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm doing this right now. I'm doing this in a radio station, and I have one of the studio doors open, so if anybody walks into the building, which they probably won't do on Memorial Day, I'll be so embarrassed doing this sort of thing that I do, because I'm sort of an introverted performer, if you didn't know. Why am I talking with that accent? Episode 1100!
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Oh wait, that's not as impressive as saying episode 1100.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Yes, I have done a lot of episodes of this podcast talk show, and I wanted to tell you something that you probably know, and that's your friends. Your friends will call you out on your sit down while I'm telling you about it. When people are your friends, they tell you things you don't
Mike's Daily Podcast.
necessarily want to hear. I don't want to hear about the fact that maybe I should quit this weekend job.
Mike's
Because now I have
Daily
a full-time job.
Podcast.
Of course, it's in radio,
Yeah.
which pays nothing. So basically, I kind of still need my part-time job, which is also in radio, which pays nothing, but allows me to do this podcast from one of the radio stations. Wait, what? No, we're at Cafe Anyway. And why on the Travel Channel is stupid Robert Zimmern, bald guy, killing a bunch of these beautiful tiger fish? You fat, bald jerk. You eat crap that's fattening and killing you and giving you... You're going to die of a heart attack in 5 years, you idiot. Quit killing those beautiful fish. Oh, that's disgusting. Can you tell I have a TV on in the room? Yes, we have a TV in one of our studios. Isn't that nice? It's a ViewSonic. A ViewSonic. Is that a... Who even makes ViewSonic? ViewSonic makes ViewSonic, Mike. ViewSonic rhymes with bubonic. Why didn't I have that in my song at the beginning of the show? That would have been a good episode 1100 song to sing. At any rate, friends tell you how it is, don't they? Even here at Cafe Anyway, I'm expecting a friend to stop in to show her face in just a moment. And they tell you, they tell you things like, "Hey, Mike, maybe you should have a life." Oh, look who just walked in.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Oh my god, I'm like so embarrassed.
Why?
Because you had the door open to the studio and anyone can walk by and listen to you making these weird voices and things.
I'm not making weird voices. This is how I really sound.
No, Mike Matthews, like, oh, never mind. Yeah, that Robert Zimmerman is an idiot.
Yeah, he kills all these wonderful animals and then eats them. And then talks about how delicious they are. And I get mad because I want to eat them too, and I hate myself.
Mike Matthews, don't eat animals. They're wonderful and they're precious.
Did you hear about their what?
Precious.
Precious?
Precious.
Mm-hmm. Did you hear they made a veggie burger that bleeds? It's made out of like beets or something, and when you cut it with your fork, it bleeds a little like a rare hamburger would.
That's like so disgusting.
Uh-huh. It's not presses?
Precious.
Right. Yeah, so we got Daniel G. Harmon coming on the show. He's been on a couple times before. He's got a great new album. Every album he comes out with is like, just jumps into this whole other world and realm. He takes us on a wonderful adventure with his music and his songs, his lyrics, and we talk about that, and he's just a fun guy to talk to. So that's coming up in a moment when we get into an interview. I want to remind you, if you'd like to help this show out, because you're a generous person. Look who else just walked in. I assume you're a generous person. I'm generous. I had people over last night at my house to celebrate episode 1100 and the fact that the show's been on 5 years now. No, actually, I did it because I was lonely and it's a Memorial Day weekend and I wanted some friends over. So Robert came over. Robert Owen Welsh of Welsh on the World, and he brought his wife Christy. And we had a fun time. We did some karaoke. I sang "I Wish It Would Rain Down" by Phil Collins, a depressing, sad song Eric Clapton plays guitar on. It's sad. And do you know why Eric Clapton played on a Phil Collins song? Because Phil Collins played drums on a bunch of Eric Clapton songs. Which ones, Mike? I'm glad you asked. It's in the way that you use it. Remember that one from that Tom Cruise movie where he plays pool? No, of course not. You know, whatever. I have gotten sidetracked and not introduced who just walked in. Ah! Oh, Mike, it's Floyd the Floorman! And it's John Deere, the engineer. That was a great movie. He looked hot in it. Yes, John Deere. He was young then, but of course he's older than me now. As old as Wilford Brimley was in the movie Cocoon, and he still looks super young. So he's amazing. I guess that Scientology keeps you young. Of course, you've sold your soul in the process to L. Ron Hubbard, but whatever. I don't know the specifics about all that. And they own some couple places in Florida, couple towns. I read about that once. Hey, that's neither here nor there. If you want to help out the show, Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. Click on that. Click on the, what is that thing? Mike, are you referring to the Amazon link? I am John Deere the engineer. You are not John Deere the engineer. I am. I know. But yeah, click on that link, buy whatever it was you were going to buy on Amazon. That helps us out. Also, there's the PayPal. If you'd like to donate to the show, you'll get a special greeting from all the Cafe Anyway characters. And there's all the past podcast pictures. We got a podcast picture gallery. You can check out some cool podcast pictures we had on the show. And while we're talking about that, let's do the podcast picture.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I was thinking about Alabama because my good friend Carrie and the Lindsays, her daughters, and her lovely husband Gary. It's Carrie and Gary. That's so cute, isn't it? Hey, it's Carrie and Gary. Let's go stop in and talk to Carrie and Gary. The Lindsays, they are having a wonderful day today on Memorial Day in Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. And I'm jealous. They've got a pool and everything, and you know it's going to be hot and humid and wonderful beach weather. They're gonna have a taco bar later on today, and I wish I could have been there. But instead, I'm here at Cafe Anyway with you, Floyd the Floorman. Yeah, that's great. I like being here with you too, Mike. Because I'm Floyd the Floorman. How's your full-time job? It's going well. Producing Rob Black's show. Rob Black of Cron News in the Bay Area. We had a lot of fun on Friday. I got to find some interesting music tracks and throw them on his show while he was talking about money and stuff. Yeah, it sounds more exciting. It sounds not as exciting as it's not exciting as I am explaining it, but it is what I'm saying. All that is at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. You can check out all the stuff. Also, that country radio station I'm on the weekends, too, if you like country music. We play a bunch of stuff, the oldies. We play, like, Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, and we play bluegrass and stuff, and Chris Stapleton, and bluegrass bands like Alison Krauss and Union Station. And okay, I've gotten too far off track. Now I need to get back to the world of indie rock and the amazing singer-songwriter guy known as Daniel G. Harmon. Let's check. Oh, and you can check out past interviews with Daniel G. Harmon as well. They're in the interview section of Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. And you can contact me there through the email, and you can comment on posts and stuff that I've done on Facebook and whatever. Links to all of that at Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. And we read your comments on the section, emails from email, and your common not-so-comments. Now, into an interview with Daniel G. Harmon.
Into an interview.
Hey, Mike, it's Dan.
How does it sound now, Dan?
It's a little better. I called directly from my phone instead of through my computer, so I think I'm good.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
There's
Sorry about that.
A little bit of delay, but no big deal.
Maybe our technology here is all messed up, even though we're within stone's throw of Silicon Valley. And
Are you at like a pop radio station?
Yeah.
I got to hear some cool jams.
yeah, here, let me put you on hold and you'll hear what we're playing. Oh, he's alive. Oh, just complain our worries away. Aha.
So are you a DJ?
See,
Are you a DJ there on Sundays? Or?
what's frustrating about this place is I've been here like 4 years and I still don't actually have a show, but I record promos and commercials for them. So
Gotcha.
my voice is on the air, but I'm not like a personality on the air, which I don't understand. It's like they've got all these other people that they have on the air, and they've all been here forever, and nobody leaves. So, and the program director is super nice and doesn't want to offend anyone, doesn't want anyone to leave, you know. And so the only time I get to be on the air is if somebody gets sick.
Oh, really? You're the fill-in guy? I'm
fill-in, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I just do this on the weekend.
That's cool. I have a buddy who works for, like this humongous radio station in New York, and he's like a producer, and he kind of does the same thing. He does all the goofy songs and like a lot of voiceover stuff.
Ah,
yeah.
New York.
Mm-hmm. Z100.
Oh yeah. That's the big one. That's the one every DJ in America, you know, that's on Top 40 radio wants to be on that station.
Yep, he's Elvis Duran's producer.
Okay.
But he also does like a podcast, which is, I've known him for a long time, and I've played on some of his records and stuff, and Sophia and I went out there a couple years ago, and he does like an independent-minded podcast from the studio, and I got to record it, and I did a couple songs, and we went to the studio, and they were interviewing Daft Punk without their helmets.
What?
I know. It was insane. It was stupid.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah. So that was my one trip to Z100. I got to see Daft Punk without their helmets.
Wow, that's an awesome story. What do they look like?
Just a couple of grumpy Frenchies.
But wait, isn't that redundant?
Yeah, I know.
All the French are
like
grumpy.
And Blur.
Yeah.
They just look like they smoke too much.
But they make some catchy little tunes.
Yes, they do.
But I got to hear some of your new album, which is entitled Slowing Down.
Yep.
And I wanted to play Carbondale. Is that what it's called?
Interesting choice. Yeah, interesting choice.
I'm going to play a couple of them, but Carbondale is the first song on the version I have, which is your 10th studio album.
Yeah, pretty wild, huh?
How have you made so many, and you're such a young guy?
I'm not, dude. I turn 40 next Saturday.
40?
By the time this comes out, I'll be 40. I don't know when you're airing this. But...
No, I'm going to air this soon, because here, let me set this up for you, sir, that not only are you turning 40, but this station, my podcast is a station, damn it.
Yes,
it's a radio station broadcasting to the world. My podcast will hit on the day that I play this back, our interview, 1100. We've done 1,100 episodes.
Oh my God. And I've done half of those.
Yes! You've been on all of them.
Well, congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and congratulations to you to turning 40.
Thank you.
That's a wonderful age to be at, where you look back on the world and your life, and you're like, wow, I've done some.
I have done some. As a matter of fact, yeah. Some people have paid attention, some more than others, but it's a comfortable place to be, and I'm excited. It was kind of funny. We were living in a house for the last year, and I was like, well, I need to utilize this space, and I was like, oh, I'm turning 40, and I just put out a record, but maybe I should put out another one. So I wrote and recorded the record over the last winter and set up a bunch of goals. Like I had mastering booked for May, and it all came together. It actually worked, and so it's coming out next Saturday.
Wow. What was that one part you just said?
I had mastering for the record and mixing booked before the record was even written.
Oh, wow.
Just so I could kind of work towards it,
That's brilliant. That's a good thing. And how did that work for you? Was it stressful or what?
No, I think I work best under pressure, where I'm like, oh man, I've got a month left and I still have a bunch of stuff to do, because I'm a huge procrastinator. But it all came together. I got stuff to everybody on time, and they got it back to me on time, and now it's about to be out in the world and out of my control.
You are like my favorite late author off the wall author Douglas Adams who wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And
How so?
he said, I love deadlines. I love the sound they make as they whisk on past.
Yeah, it's true, because I know that if I don't set a deadline, especially if I'm recording a record on my own and I'm not like going to a studio to do it, I'll never get it done. You know, like I'll literally be like, oh, I guess I can just watch TV.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great, and it sounds good. I love the song Carbondale. Oh, I just wanted to say real quick too, I've been hearing you on Indie Pop Rocks.
Oh, awesome! They've been playing it. Cool.
Soma.fm, and I was like, oh yeah, that's Daniel's voice. I know Daniel G. Harmon. You have this distinctive voice, and this way there's an intensity, yet there's also I want to say like a, not frailty, but you know, a sadness. Like there's the emotion is gonna break at any moment. You know what I mean? Like you can feel the emotion, and your songs rock. And I don't know. I'm throwing words at you in your face.
No, they've always been very kind to me. Like I think it's Elise that programs Indie Pop Rock. She started playing records about 10 years ago of mine, and since then, everything I send down, they add, and it's very, very sweet of them to do so.
Oh, that's great. I listen to that a lot. So tell me about the song Carbondale. That
is actually a song that I wrote before I even knew that this record was going to be made. About a year ago, my girlfriend and I were in Boston, and I was flying back, and I kind of busted out my computer and was just goofing around and wrote that song. And I was like, well, I got to name it something. And I looked on the little map, and we were flying over a town called Carbondale. And I was like, well, I guess that's the title.
Oh, that's awesome.
And vocals and stuff later on, but that was where it was born.
Carbondale.
36,000 feet over Carbondale, Illinois.
Carbondale, Illinois. I wonder what it's like there.
I don't know, but it's funny. I sent the record to a buddy who books shows here, and he's like, tell me about Carbondale. I went to college there. And I'm like, what the f***? It's a real place.
Weird. All right, well,
yeah.
Tell me about the intro is really interesting. You got this, it builds
really
up.
Cool synth pad. Yeah, it was a weird synth pad that actually sounded kind of different when I recorded it, but then the dude that mixed it made it even creepier and weirder than it was already, and I really love it. Like, it's kind of like distorty and feedbacky, and it was weird. Before I sent the song off to be mixed, I was like, I don't know where this song's going to fit on the record. And then I started getting mixes back, and I was like, I'm gonna open the record with that. Like, it was kind of like this weird statement, you know, because my records have all kind of had this like smooth progression as sequence wise. But this kind of just like was all of a sudden in your face, and I like that. So I made the decision, because I was the only one making decisions. So I was like, I'm gonna open the record with this song.
Well, it's a good choice. Let's listen to it now on Mike's Daily Podcast. Daniel G. Harmon with us from the album Slowing Down. We were listening to some songs from it because Daniel G. Harmon, he emailed me and he says, hey, I'm coming out with my 10th studio album, and I'm gonna turn 40. And I was like, what? And he said, yeah. And I said, let's talk.
Let's have a little chat. Let's have a sit down there, Mike.
Let's have a little chit chat using the equipment at a radio station I work at. I hope they don't mind. Hesitations.
No. Yes, sir.
Has a nice groove.
Thank you. Yeah.
I like it. It's different. It's cool. What was the inspiration for this one?
It was a pretty angry song. I remember a little over a year ago, I sat down and just kind of hammered it out. And then over the year, it's evolved into something a little bit nicer and more epic. But there's an interesting story about that. It may not be interesting to anyone other than myself. But I inherited these microphones from my grandfather. They were these old radio microphones from the 40s.
Why did your grandfather have them?
Well, he was a radio operator in World War II.
What?
And I don't know what he had used them for or what, but they were these in beautiful condition. There were these little, like, tiny little shotgun mics. They looked like half the size of like an SM57, and I'd never used them for anything. And I was like, well, I'm going to use them. So I used them, and I recorded the acoustic guitar part for Hesitations with that song. And I think it sounds fine and whatever. And that was the only thing, and I've had those for about 20 years. It's the only thing I've ever used them for. And we just moved. We just moved from a house into an apartment, and I was packing up stuff, and I was taking stuff to Goodwill like every day. And I realized in a cold sweat in the middle of the night that I had taken those microphones to Goodwill.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And they're gone forever.
Oh.
Maybe they'll come back to me at some point, but I was just really happy that I was able to get them used at least once on that record.
Yeah, so and that will last forever. The mics might eventually, not work anymore because of the technology, but you will have the song.
And the pain will last forever.
The pain will last. But no, I'm looking for some microphones too, so I need to run down to Goodwill. Maybe I'll find yours.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. Actually, in that same batch, I gave away a friend of mine's Shure microphone that we used to record drums on the record.
No!
So total winner over the last month.
Well, let's listen to Daniel G. Harmon.
Friends and microphones.
The Hesitations featuring the now defunct microphones that no longer exist in the world that we know. Anyway. And it's Daniel G. Harmon from his album Slowing Down on Mike's Daily Podcast. And wow.
Didn't that acoustic guitar sound great?
It sounded great, yeah.
Oh, God.
So you have a song called So.
I do, yeah.
And there was a Peter Gabriel album I liked a lot called So.
That's right, there was. I just remembered that. Thanks for reminding me that I totally ripped them off, I guess.
Well, he never named albums until that one. Then is
that right?
Yeah. Then he started naming them with one-word titles, like So or Us.
User-ish of them.
Yeah. But I like the guitar and beat of So. You're So.
Oh, thank you.
It's very nice. I like it.
Do you remember that time when we came over and we were drinking Mike's Hard Lemonade?
That's right. Yes. Oh.
I don't know why I just thought of that.
Oh my God! I was trying to remember when you came to my house, and yeah, I got a bunch of Mike's Hard Lemonade.
You guys need to be a little looser. Have some of this.
And I made guacamole and chips. And
you did. You made the finest chips I've ever had from a bag.
I should say I made the guacamole and the chips I bought. But you guys, you and Kai Alfred Hillig showed up. I had never met Kai Alfred Hillig before. There was something about a joke about it's coming out of me, hashtag it's coming out of me, or something like that. I don't know what that was.
Probably so.
And then, when you guys showed up, it was like a couple months after my wife and I separated. So it was a good, kind of an uplifting time. It was about 2 or 3 years ago, huh?
It was 2 years ago, yeah, because we were on tour and you came to the show in San Francisco the night before, I think.
At that weird place that closed up.
Did they close up? That's not surprising.
That weird room. And they had the spinning lights and all this weird kind of 1960s stuff on the walls.
Brian and Kai spent the night there that night.
Now, where did you spend the night?
Sophia was actually in San Francisco for work, so I got to take a shower and stay at a hotel.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, and they stayed the night, and Kai, he mentioned on a previous podcast about how there was just some weird stuff going on there.
That's what I hear.
And then when Kai showed up last year, my dog had just hurt himself really bad, and he had to be all bandaged up. And Kai had just lost his cat that had lived 21 years. So Basil sat on top of him the whole interview. and Kai was like, "This is very therapeutic."
Is Basil feeling better?
Oh yeah, he completely healed up. But you know, he's almost 8 years old, so he's turning gray, but he's still in good shape. And if he gets to see you again, I'm sure he'll remember you and he'll be all happy.
I would love that. I love boxers. My sister has 2 of them, so I'm very familiar with the massiveness that is them.
They're like big cats. They want to sit on you and be near you all the time and play. But what was the inspiration for So?
Oh, geez. That was one that kind of just started with a guitar riff, and then the lyrics came later. I kind of dug into some old lyric books for that one. To me, it has like a very like early 2000s indie rock feel, and I feel like some of the lyrics kind of reference that. But you'll find a lot, as you know, a lot of my stuff is like, oh yeah, this one's very much about this, and then the rest I'm like, I have no idea. That all kind of came together somehow.
When I talked to you about White Mountain, you were like, it was something, I don't know what it was back in my head, and then I find something new every time I hear it.
Yeah.
About certain songs.
Sometimes, man. It's weird.
That's what I love about songwriting.
That's what I love and hate about it. It's like, I think every time you want something to be super direct and be able to be like, oh yes, this is completely about, the time my first wife died, or whatever, but that none of that ever happens. It's like half and half, generally for me at least.
Well, let's listen to So from your album called Slowing Down, and we'll find out why you called it Slowing Down right after we listen to this song by you, Daniel G. Harmon, on my podcast show thing.
This might be the last.
And that was So. So, why Slowing Down?
I think it's kind of a play on words. I realize that I'm turning 40 and in a lot of ways slowing down physically. But career-wise, I really have no intention of that. I just keep working. So I thought that was kind of a funny, like, play on words, I guess.
Because you're actually speeding up, Daniel G. Harmon.
On some stuff, yeah. But then there's also stuff that's, like, completely, very slow on the record. So, but I think it was just kind of more of a funny thing, Plus, like, it was more of a mental note to myself, like, slow down. You eat too fast, or you do too much stuff at the same time.
It wasn't until my 40s that I realized I eat too fast.
Yeah, so there you go. That was the big one.
You got to slow down and enjoy each bite.
I'm trying.
That's good. I'm happy about that. You're doing that.
Do you feel better now that you eat slower?
Yes, I do. But now tell me about. All right, I wanted to play the song Lyle because.
Oh yeah, there's a good story there. When
you say Lyle, I think of Lyle Lovett, who's one of my favorite singer-songwriter guys because he's so goofy and he's come up with some bizarre songs. But your style very different. But both of you touch on the folk in your own ways, the folk world, in your own very interesting ways. But why is it called Lyle, Daniel G. Harmon?
So remember the microphone story?
Yeah, which I'm going to try and find this.
From earlier this hour?
Yeah, from earlier in the podcast, yes.
Yeah. Well, so my grandfather's name was Lyle on my mother's side. And he's the one that gave me those microphones. But the only other thing not only other, but one of the very few other things that I got was a ukulele from him.
Oh.
And this is super weird, but I was at my old apartment about 2 years ago, and I heard this like weird noise in the middle of the night. And I'm not like spiritual or any like believe in like paranormal or anything. But I got up and I was like, "What is this?" And it was the ukulele that he had given me. And there must have been like some weird like barometric pressure changing or something, because the strings were stretching, and those strings have been on there for like 50 years, like never changed or anything. So I picked it up at like 2 a.m. and started playing, and I wrote that song, that dumb little ukulele line that's in that song.
Whoa!
And what you hear on the record is actually the track that I recorded into my iPhone 10 minutes later after I wrote it.
What?
So it can't kind of like, I felt like, well, maybe my grandfather's speaking to me through this ukulele. And I was like, I'm never going to remember the song if I don't write it down or record it right now. And I recorded it, and I kept it, and we used it for the record.
Wow. That's a fantastic story. I'm glad I asked you that question, because that was a great... I'm like, wow. What a connection to your grandfather.
It's interesting. I have, over the course of my, records putting out, I've written a couple songs about him, and he and I had a very special relationship. I love him and miss him dearly, but this one I think felt the closest. Like, it was like, oh, maybe he's actually speaking to me through it. So
wow.
It was really fun to do.
And in the world today, when you make a song, it really literally lives forever. It's not like, oh, it got pressed onto vinyl and then it fell into the ocean and we never found the vinyl again. It's like it's in the internet. It's in the digital matrix of the cyber world forever.
Yeah, and I don't have children, and I'm not going to have children, and so this is kind of how I look at like my legacy, I guess, is what the stuff that I put out into the world, these things will live forever. So it's interesting that you say that, but I've always kind of felt that, like this is what I have to give.
Excellent. Well, let's play it now. And so your album is coming out on June 4th. Where can they find it?
Anywhere on digital media. You'll also be able to order CDs off Amazon. But on my Bandcamp, it'll be available for free, and that's just thetroublestarts.bandcamp.com.
And Trouble Starts, your band, is that still something you are like touring with or anything, or toying with?
Nope. The Trouble Starts died about 5 years ago. Not that long ago, I guess, but I still kind of keep that name because I think it's funny.
Yeah.
So some of my website stuff is still that, so... And I have all the records on that Bandcamp page as well from the Trouble Starts, so I kept it.
Thank you so much, Daniel G. Harmon.
Thank you, Mike Matthews. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Daniel. All righty. That was fun. Some great music from Daniel G. Harmon. Next show, we are going to be bringing you the wonderful Benita, the rodeo queen, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster, and a bunch of amazing guests. We got Kathy's Corner coming up. We haven't done Kathy's Corner in a long time. We got another addendum with Kevin coming up. We are hoping to get on Haley again, and the return of the segment, The Daily Haley, and other great guests all coming up here on the one and only Mike's Daily Podcast from Cafe Anyway. Oh, we went outside, didn't we? We're outside. That's right. I'm confused.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!